Noah and his descendants and where they moved to on the map, right? So when you're reading the Bible and it's talking about the different tribes, living in different parts of the world, you can look at the map and correlate who these people are. And when Jacob went into Egypt, Joseph was already there. He was married to an Egyptian. So the original Hebrews, they were a mixture of tribal people, different complexions. So we have to understand that the Jews they didn't have European complexions.
Right.
But you can't say that they were all one complexion.
No.
They were a mixture. There was just a mixture of people.
There's some of them that say that they are, but then there's some of them that say no, they're just from the tribe of Judah. That there's different tribes. But the European tribe, they said they go like the tribe of Dan or something like that.
Right. Yeah, there are some that believe that
Dan is in the north of Israel,
but there are some people that believe that the tribe of Dan, descendants of the tribe of Dan ended up in Ireland or in that area. They took some of those customs, Jewish customs with them.
Yeah, well, they say like the island type of people were the lighter skinned people, but
and so ultimately
Well, I had to bring it up since we're talking about Israel, and that's kind of, that's something that's been coming up lately a lot.
And there's even, during Second World War, where people were scattered even more. We have Jews that ended up in India or China just to escape being slaughtered by
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Oh,
so they just
Indians
mixed into many different countries.
So I think that's where a lot of people feel like some of the Jews that are there, that's where they feel like some of them, they're not the real Jews.
Right.
Ashkenazi Jews, which is, it's not.
I think it's kind of like when, if you're an American, are you a Mexican American? Are you a German American? Are you a French American? Are you American?
Or are you like me, just American?
So how many generations
Mexican isn't a race.
Yeah, that's another one.
How many different generations
do you have to be? Understanding.
How many generations do you have to be? Like, literally, what benefit would it be to say you haven't lived in the land long enough, or you've lived in the land only because you're, what is that?
And you know what I think too? It's interesting because it's the only place in the world where it's like that is Israel. And it's about being Jewish because
they
God
don't
talks
care.
about
You can literally be every single color of the rainbow, including.
Yeah, but I know, I totally, because there's everything there. It's everything there.
I think a lot of they get it from Revelations that talks about there's Jews that say they are Jews, but they're not. Yeah. From the synagogue of Satan.
That's exactly
kind
what
of
the
like
guy
applicable
on
to
Periscope was
Christianity
quoting.
too, though. It's applicable to Christianity as well, not strictly Jews, but those who say they're Christians and really aren't. So it's applicable.
Well, in that argument, you can say that we're Jews then.
I am Jewish. I did a DNA test.
I'm just saying because if we use that argument saying that it's applying to Christians, then we can say that, that replacement theology can come in and say, I'm a Christian, so that therefore I'm a Jew.
No, she was talking about in general when people are just like, I'm just a Christian.
I'm talking about that verse that they use.
Oh, yeah.
About that verse saying that there are, there's people that say that
they're Jews that are not Jews.
That are not, but they're from the synagogue of Satan.
I just looked it up.
It's in Revelations chapter 2.
Yeah.
So I know that when there's multiple ministries in the U.S. that fly Jews in from Ethiopia, they do airlifts.
Revelations 3:9, by the way.
And they take them in. And when they do that from Russia, from Crimea, they were taking them out, and just all the places that Jewish people have had to flee recently in our lifetime. They they verify that those people have Jewish roots and blood and everything else. And Jewish people, unlike any other people that I've ever seen, they literally can go back 7 generations. This is my father, this is my grandmother, this is my cousin, and we have roots all the way back here to Egypt. Or we have roots all the way back here to whatever country. So they can verify that they're Jews. I just know that those ministries that do bring them in on it's called Wings of Eagles and different ones that they bring them in on into Israel, they do they do all the measures to make sure that they are Jewish, whether they're coming from Northern Europe or Ethiopia.
I think one of the most interesting things, though, is what I was trying to say was that it's really just about Israel. There's no other place in the world where people are trying to stake their home or their blood besides that place, and that's where everything went down, Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
We're not trying to do that in America, like, I need to come back to America because that's my homeland.
Well, the Mormons think that, Jerusalem's here, so.
Well, that's another good understanding.
But also the Mormons believe that, there were tribes of Israel,
the Indian
tribes of Israel that went into South America, so. So,
and there is some Indians that are starting to say they have which is all possible. I think as African Americans, we identify with Israel, with their plight in Egypt, because we experienced the same things. Yeah.
We have experienced years and hundreds of years of slavery and what have you, and we identify with them in that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, when I hear about, when they say, I'm a black Hebrew, I don't take offense to it because I'm not Jewish at all. I'm Mexican, so I'm a mixture of whatever. You mean? So.
What is Mexican? Is that a race?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Jewish people in Israel, nobody on the face of the earth calls himself a Hebrew.
I know, but where does the term Jew come from?
From Judea.
So they weren't called Jews until they returned back from Babylon. And there was only a portion of the people that came back to Judah.
Right.
Right? Because there was a tribe of Judah that was left in the land that was exported into Babylon. Mm-hmm. So it was till after that, when they came back into the land, that's when that term really developed.
But it's
but overall, Israel.
Not used today. Nobody says they're Hebrew.
When you think of Israel, Israel is more than the Jews.
Yeah.
Israel is more than the tribe of Judah.
Right.
Because, they went into captivity before Judea went into captivity. The northern kingdom went into the captivity, and they were scattered. So you just can't say Jews.
The diaspora throughout all the earth.
That's what the diaspora is all about.
Yeah.
And that's where, the different tribes that are all over the place.
And now it's absolutely amazing. Anybody who thinks they have any Jewish blood, you can do a DNA test. It's like $50. You swipe the inside of your cheek, you send it off to the DNA center, and that's it. You verify it, and
here's a surprise for today's show. We have these packets.
Which is so, science is really caught up, because if people think they are or they aren't or whatever, they can just do the DNA test and tell.
Well, my aunt, one of my mom's older sisters, before she passed away, I was sitting in her living room and she told me a story. Okay. Her grandfather, his name was Nap Weissner. Okay. He was half Jewish and half black. And his mother came over on the slave ship. So when I went on Ancestry.com and traced Weissner, that name, it goes back to Germany. Mm-hmm. So one of my descendants was a German with Jewish descent. Mm-hmm. Nap Weissner was my great-great-grandfather. So when he was a kid, he escaped. His mother was sold, and then about 2 or 3 years later, he ran away. Mm-hmm. And he ended up in Indian territory when the United States was moving the Indians off of their land and stuff and moving them into Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And he settled with Seminole Indian. And so my mom was a descendant of, Africans and Jews and Seminole Indians.
Wow.
So, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting when you start talking about Israel. There's a lot of things that you can get into, and can get pretty controversial. So
a little bit.
So I'll go get the actual DNA test.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, please.
It's fun.
And then we can do part 2. Yeah. We should all do our test and then do that.
I bet he has Jewish blood.
Sorry, you're just Mexican.
That's it. That's
What's your last name?
Olivares.
Olive. There you go.
There we
From
go.
the Middle East.
From the tree of olive.
I just want to know where all the dark Jews are. So all I see is the lighter complexion color ones. Where's the dark ones at?
Ethiopian. There's a lot of Ethiopian Jews there, huh?
You look like one. You look like one.
I know,
You
that's
look
right.
like
Yeah,
one. We all look like Jews.
It's more than just Ethiopia.
Yeah,
Because Israel is it's in the Middle East and everybody.
There's guys like my color and darker. Like I was, they didn't know what to speak to me. I had sunglasses on, they were speaking Arab to me, they were speaking Hebrew to me, and it was crazy.
It's a fun place. You know, aside from the history and the beauty, it's really a fun place to be. It's such an alive place.
Because it has everything modern, because Israel's on top of all the technology. Mm-hmm. But then you also have all this great history, like where Jesus walked.
They've surpassed the Silicon Valley in terms of technology. Yeah. It's just skyrocketed.
It's really that you walk to this cool mall, and then you go up these stairs, and then you're the gates of like David, right? Mm-hmm. Jerusalem, and it's so we got to go, and then we got to do a podcast from Israel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'll be cool. Well. Is there anything else you want to share that you have?
Let's see. Just the email addresses. If anyone has any stories on, the Christian Global Watch from around the world, you're welcome to send in your stories. And that's just at media, MEDIA at ChristianGlobalWatch.com. And the other one is friendsofisraelnetwork.com. And that one is just info, INFO. at friendsofisraelnetwork.com. So,
go ahead and say that one more time.
Let's see. Christian Global Watch. If you have stories for us to post about, persecution of Christians around the world, it's media, MEDIA at ChristianGlobalWatch.com. And if you would like to connect with us about Israel, it's INFO info at friendsofisraelnetwork.com.
All right. So everybody support Israel. Pray for your brother. Love your neighbor as yourself. First, love your Lord God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. So with that being said, is there anything else you guys want to say?
Shalom.
Shalom. God bless everybody.
Jerusalem descending, a city from the sky, Abraham's dream, and the answer to my cry for those who love Messiah. A kingdom is prepared, the citizens are holy, and there's no weeping there. No more songs